Well, hi everyone, and welcome back to my YouTube art tutorial channel. I'm a professional artist working from my studio in Essex in the UK and painting plein air in the countryside. Well, in case you were in any doubt, I'm in Hutton-le-Hole today. In this demonstration, I'll be showing you how I produced a view of the old forged tea rooms here in Hutton-le-Hole, the gateway to the North York Moors. Okay, well, for the exercise today, well, painting basically, I'm using two mop brushes and a rigger, my normal Sablesque series 45. It's a number 8, and I think this is a number 4 Daler-Rowney. No, this is Daler-Rowney, and this is a Pro Art number 5 rigger. So they are the 3 brushes that I should use for this exercise. Now we're in Hutton-le-Hole on the the gateway to the North York Moors basically, and it was a rather damp day, but there was a few people just braving the elements and sitting under the parasols at the old forge tea rooms, which is there. I've not even put the windows in, but I will do later. But anyway, let's get cracking, trying to create a bit of atmosphere, because this one is all about creating atmosphere. And if we can get that right, then we're pretty much halfway there, really. Now, atmosphere. Let's damp the paper thoroughly. Okay. This is the key to atmosphere. Wet into wet, really. Keeping the paper damp where required and dry where not required to get damp, basically. But I think that probably does it. Near enough for what I'm looking for. Light is going to come from behind this building and the tea rooms. So this will all be in shadow. Anyway, let's get cracking. For the atmosphere, I'm going to use ultramarine blue with burnt umber. Get a lovely grey. I'm looking for a blue grey to start. Quite a blue grey. I'm going to have a bit of light coming in from that area, but overall it's going to be fairly grey, so there's nice little touches of grey there. Just going to go around that side and around the cars. I made the phone box too large, so I've left the drawing there, as you can see. And in the centre here we had quite a warm tone. Perhaps not that warm, but there you go, look at that. A lovely warm tone right in the centre. And so this is burnt sienna, just dropping in. I really enjoy being in control of the colour. That's the key to painting in this way, actually being in control of the colour. Now I'm putting some red in here at the top, and that's cadmium red, and that's going to come across there like that, all to create atmosphere. There you go. Now I'm putting in cobalt blue now, because I want the cobalt blue to give me a feeling of depth. A bit of raw sienna too going in there. I want to get a feeling of trees in the background. Let's just add a little bit solid raw sienna, because I want to try and get these lovely trees growing up into the sky. And that's it. Yeah, right, now we're going to go really dark with those. Well, not really dark, because with the raw sienna and the cobalt blue, you don't get a particularly dark colour, and try and just pick up an uneven top to those. There we go. And right in the centre here, I'm going to bang in quite a considerable blue. Keep away from that car for the present moment. And as you get close to this strong colour, basically, it weakens off because you're actually, a couple of figures there, maybe in light, so because you're actually sort of blending them on the paper really. So we'll allow that to dry a touch while we look back in at the sky again, and that's blue again, which is ultramarine blue and burnt umber. Now if we can get some separation of the colour, that would be very useful. Don't want to make too much of this sky, thinking about it, and if you're not careful, you bang colour in and you're not thinking about it. So thinking about it, don't want to make too much of that sky. Put a little bit over there like that. There we go. That's good. Now while I have this rather blue-grey, I'm going to drag that paint around the corner, around the car and forward into the foreground like that. So we've got the road in, just watch that, and those figures I have left, we've got to go around there like that. That's it. Perfect. There we go. Allow that to what I'd call burn itself out really for a little while. In the meantime, I'm cleaning the brush again, and the lovely old sort of grey stone, so that's raw sienna with a touch of that blue in there, the ultramarine with a little, and I'm going to add light red to that, because this is what, this is the way that burnt sienna too, but mainly a bit of light red, a bit of ultramarine blue, and what we got there, it's red tile roof. Keep away from that. And we've not got the windows in there, which I forgot about again, which I'm forgetting quite a lot on this one. That's because at the present moment I feel quite confident that that sort of detail is not really required. Right, now we're going in over here, and to do that I'm going in with ultramarine blue and light red. Let's bang light red. There we go. Ultramarine blue and light red. Plenty of red. And that is also losing the shape of the windows at that point. But this is in shadow. This is the good fun about painting like this. Now I've not drawn these windows in, but what I'm going to do, I'm going to just paint down that corner. I'm going to just paint around and give an impression of these windows here. And we have done a big window there. And that window sort of finishes there, and this comes straight down there, straight down across the top, and then we have another area there, and that finishes pretty much there. Always vital that now we're getting into these window areas. Well, that's a door, there's a window there, but we're not too concerned. We're pretty much into the area where we need just to think about what we're going to leave and what we're going to paint over, basically. I want the figures left to a certain extent, which is always something to consider. Windows, I'm painting over those, for some silly reason, I'm not really sure. There's another parasol, and there's a doorway, so we're not worried about that. That's a window. Drag that paint through, around these figures, door there, and then we're just going underneath these figures here and there, so that that continues through like that. Good, 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 good. Yeah, pretty much happy with that. Now I need a green, so I'm bringing in a yellow into that colour and pulling that across there. A couple of figures standing there, and that then goes into this foreground, yeah, right the way through to this foreground here, and up to the building there, I believe. That's it. It's all about atmosphere, this one, and it's what you do with it once it gets to this stage. Oh, we've got some more green here, not quite as prominent, but I'm just picking up a little bit of blue, and that I hope will suffice for green. Sorry, a little bit of yellow, and that will suffice for that green there. Yep, that's pretty much okay. Right, a bit more raw sienna going in here, because this area is in sunlight. So this is the gable end that's actually in sunlight. A bit of red in there too. There we go. I want to depict that lovely old stonework. I've just got to pick up and drag that into it so it doesn't interfere too much with the cleanliness of the frontage. Oh, and there's another area. Don't want this to be too brilliant, but this is another area of lovely old stone. Just as we go into the sunlight again, that's in sunlight. Sorry, that's in sunlight, that's in shadow. That's good. And we're getting there. Now we put a bit of a path on, or pavement of some sort of description there. We need to vary this for obvious reasons. We don't want just one tone of colour there, and to vary it, quite simply add a bit of red to it, really, I suppose. That just helps to give it a sense of a bit more blue as well as you come forward. No, a bit more red. There you go. You know I like reds in the foreground, and that's what I've done basically. And while that's still damp, I'm dragging that through there like that. That's it. Now, while keeping an eye on it, I'm now going to put this background in again. It's all blurred together, so we use the ultramarine blue into using the smaller mop brush now. Ultramarine blue in with the a bit of warmth, bit of raw, bit of Indian red. There you go. And this is where I'm creating the tops of those trees. A bit more blue and a little bit more red. That's better, to give us a bit of tone that stands up and comes back. You know, a nice bit of warmth there. And it's a bit sort of open a bit there, so let's be a bit careful with that. And nice misty sort of feel down into the distance there. As you can see, it's still damp, so it's taking rather nicely. And a bit more raw sienna now, just as I come down, go around that building, and also just blending with that more foreground tree there, and that one there. Always a nice thing to do. Bit of blend there, and a bit more cobalt. Remember I put this in early on. I'm putting it in considerably stronger now, because I want that to be the most distant part of the picture, and reasonably dark round by the figures. But other than that, that I think will be sufficient for that hazy sort of background feel. While that's beginning to dry in the background there, I've mixed light red, which is that one, and burnt sienna. I'm just going to put a touch of cobalt with that just to knock that back a touch, but basically that's the colour that I need for the sort of like red tile pan roof work there, although don't want it to be too dulled back, but I don't want it too powerful basically, and just to bring it up just a touch and just to show a little bit of marking in the roof. I've just added a bit more light red to that one, so that's gone in okay. But this one here I want to be stronger, so it's mainly burnt sienna, so as we get a nice stronger feel to that. I'm even putting a bit of cadmium red in that because I want that to really punch forward. Right, and this one too, I want this to be of a reasonable sort of colour, although it's not directly in sunlight. It still needs to have a reasonable strength. Just to pick up the roof like that. There we go. And don't worry about if you're getting a little bit of bleed. You know, this is still yet to dry off. It's granulating very nicely because I've used the burnt umber and the ultramarine. You always get a lovely granulation with those two colours. And there's another one there, so let's pick up a little bit of that roof too. And that's not quite as powerful as that, but see, we've got the lovely warm and the cool colours, and that's my sort of, that's what I want this scene to actually be. I want the warm and the cool colours to come through. And of course we have the chimney as well, which is also a warm tone, so let's put that in a little bit toned back with a little bit of blue, which is always a good thing to do, well, as far as I can know. A little bit of yellow now in this one for this chimney here and for that chimney there. Not putting the pots in at this moment. Virtually take that out of picture really, I suppose. That's fine. All impressionist. That's what we're looking for. We're not looking for anything too fussy. Now these windows are cream. I've left those because you'll see later, once that completely dries, I want to paint around them. Those will go in a little darker. But these are cream, so although they're in shadow, and that's the reason I've left them, I'm going to put them in like that. And I think there's another window here actually, which I can just tease away. There you go, look at that. That's what I like about this paper. It's wood pulp, so it doesn't stain too much. A lot of artists won't use it, but I don't mind. And then there's a board there of some sort with a little bit of, yep, there we go. And all of a sudden now I've mixed burnt umber with, just in that little area there, with Payne's grey, because I want to get this funny looking grey colour. Now I'm trying to paint the negative leaving the positive, which is not easy to do, as you can probably see, and if it doesn't work out, as long as you've left some white paper to tint later, then it doesn't really make that much difference. But so I'll give that idea up. I'm just leaving some little touches of white here and there because I'm not achieving the correct, and that's meant to be tea rooms in print. Well, there you go. if you can read that, you're better than me. And so that's that. A bit more writing there. Just keep it in a line and just stipple it through. There we go. A bit more one more little area of writing there, and we come down to the bottom. There we go. And that will be tinted in cream later. Or we must do the back of this, which is same colour. There we are. Good. So that's the way I've done that board, just to give impression. There's writing there really. It's got to be. I've got to fill in the white paper very shortly, but that needs to dry first. Well, now while that's I have the opportunity, just want to put some bit of colour into this area, because I can't do much to the rest. I want that to more or less completely dry, but there's brown here, so it's just burnt umber really. That's the way I see the brown, just purely burnt umber. Can put a bit of raw sienna to it just to give it a little bit of warmth. Perhaps we ought to, actually thinking about it, a little bit of burnt sienna. It's nice to have a little bit of warmth in the brown, but overall I'm just putting this in. This is for the benches and the the seating area, and the tables, not the figures at this stage. A little bit there, a little bit across there. There we go. Legs, just a little bit of gentle work on that. Don't be too heavy with that at this stage. Same there, just a bit of, there we go. And of course the figures, I'm going to add a bit of colour to those. And I like a little bit of red, and the red will go nicely there against that blue. And then I'm going to put blue with that, because we have a nice sort of figure there. Then we're going to tap yellow in. Tap, I'm not sure that was quite, and let's just put a bit of yellow to that. There we go. So these are figures. Now you'd never know it, but hopefully we can get them to look like figures eventually. A little bit of other colour in there, a bit of every colour, just to soften that figure off there. That's good. And while I have sort of like a warm burgundy, this figure is going to have a bit of that colour. There we go. And the other figure is going to be considerably darker. So we're looking for a bit of blue with that mix there. Like that. And this figure also is going to take a little bit of that sort of blue colour. I want that to remain like that. Might as well put these figures in now, and we'll put the head on that figure too. And the jeans of some sort. Yeah, let's just drag those down nicely like that. There we go. Quite sufficient. And similar sort of feel to these really. Put a bit of burnt umber. Sorry, a bit of Payne's grey here. Well, let's use the point, because it's a different blue really, Payne's grey. There we go. So that's pretty much that Payne's grey. Just rub that away a little bit long, that figure. There we go. That's nice. Now the faces, let's just put a little bit of yellow, or a bit of burnt sienna as well. I like to see warm faces on the figures. It could be the hair. A lot of people say to me that looks as if they've been abroad for a few days. Well, could very well be, because the weather we're having here is not ideal to get a tan on your face, I'm afraid. So no, they've not been in the UK for much of a time. Got to deal with the cars. Payne's grey with anything in it. Yeah, a little bit of, there we go, a little bit of Indian red, because this basically has got to look quite black, but I want to have feeling a bit of light catching certain parts of this lovely vehicle that's heading off down the road, and that way would take you out of Hutton-le-Hole to well, heading towards Pickering, if you wish, I suppose, or Helmsley the other way, I suppose. But that's it. Now we'll go under there with it, save the bumper, and of course we have the wing mirrors that stand there. Just try and just perk that side up a little bit. Yeah, that's okay. I can suffer that as a basic car heading off into the distance. The other one, I'm going to have it's sort of like a grey, but it's more of a blue grey, cobalt blue. That needs to have a bit of strength of colour. Don't be too much water on the brush. A little bit of Indian red in there. Don't want too much moisture on the brush. But this is there again, quite a little bit of lighting there. That's it. When this goes across and back, basically that's pretty much much of a muchness, if that's what I should be saying at this point. There we are. There's another car in there. I think that looks like a car. I think that'll do us as a car. Okay, now I'm going to put the red foam box in. Now my mix for the red foam box is cadmium red and Indian red. Now just debating whether to leave the there we go, that'll do us, there you go, that's fine. Right, now we come down this side here. I think that foam box is big enough. I made it too large initially, which didn't help matters really as regards the size of the figures. That's what you've got to remember. You know, if you've got figures, then obviously I've just left white for the windows. Let's just try and pick up the sections. That's it. Not going to worry about counting them, but I'm sure we can all see it's a red foam box. Yeah, that's fine. That's about right for the size of figures. That's what you've got to think of. So that's worked okay. Yeah, that seems to lay there quite nicely. And if you haven't got your foam boxes perfectly upright, you will notice that sometimes these old foam boxes, because they've been so many years here, then tends to get a little bit, you know, the foundations go a little. So don't be too worried about it. Now, this is the 40-mile-an-hour sign. So why not put that in? There we go. We have it's like a grey sort of upright. Let's put that in then as well while we're about it. Grey blue, I suppose, for the post. If I can get the brush to point correctly, there you go. These little touches are always handy to give, you know, just to make your street scenes look like street scenes. Now I'm going to put in some chimney work. Done a little bit of work on them boards, but nothing great. And chimney there, another one there. That's good. This is a red chimney pot as well. I'm putting some yellow with this, just to make it slightly orange. So it's just burnt sienna really. Just a ring of changes. Always nice to ring the changes of those areas. Now I'm going to put in the tree work. There's a lovely tree area here. As you can see, I've got my burnt sienna in, which is useful. But I need something just to hold that corner in. I know this is going to be dark, but I need a bit of texture there, and that may even go around the foam box. But we'll see as we go. Right, what I'm going to do for this, I'm going to use ultramarine blue with cadmium yellow. Right, it's Windsor yellow if you like. Okay, then I'm putting burnt sienna with that, so basically it's going to grey it up, which I think probably suits this sort of tree here. And we can then pick up the side of that building, and of course that colour, if we can just pick up the outside edge of that. I'm winging it a little here because something that I've not thought about greatly, but there you go. And then we can leave some of that warm tone, certainly until we get down further. See where that warm tone now takes charge of that particular subject, that particular area. Then as I go down, I'm adding more blue. So we're getting deeper in tone, just one or two touches within that, because I want that to get a little darker here. And then as I go down, there is a picket fence I can see. So I'm going to hold that line like that, and down the edge of the foam box, then there's a picket fence that needs a bit of perspective, so I've got to remember that. There we go. Right, then we have a right, 1, 2, 3, 4. No need to count them, but to be fair, and then we leave a gap and we go down again, and gradually they will blend together because of the distance, like that. Like that, and then we have the bottom of the picket fence like that, and then they gradually blend together, and all of a sudden you've created yourself a lovely picket fence. Just an impression of it really, so it's not any great detail. Then I'm adding more burnt sienna with this now, because I want this to be quite dark around the foam box, and I want to leave a little bit of light on top of that foam box, but not down the back edge. There we go. A little bit on the left, but not so much on the right. And as you can see, this then gives us perspective like that, and it all of a sudden opens up that, lightens up that distance area that I feel may be sufficient for what I want to do really, you know. That's something we'll have to ponder over shortly, but there we go. Okay, so can you see the way I've pulled that together, really brought that foam box out, and the light inside that box is going to be very, very important during the final stages of this painting. Okay, let's concentrate now on this frontage here. Now I've mixed together ultramarine with alizarin crimson, because I want a crimsony colour, but I'm going to put a touch of yellow with that, not a lot, but just a touch. You've got your three primaries there, that will slightly grey it off, because this is the area that I want fairly dark initially anyway. Yeah, that's, I'll just put one stroke on there just to see. And of course we do have it just run across there, we do have those. That's it, that's fine. Right, work our way down fairly quickly right to there, and then pick up the corner, but we're painting around the windows. Where are the windows? Oh right, there you go. That's the trouble, you end up covering the windows over. Right, there's another one there perhaps. Yeah, there it is. And then we just leave a bead there. Perhaps not. We'll pick up the dark tone, and then we come down there, and quite deep windows these are, so that will go in there like that, that will go in there, that will go in there like that. Gradually they get the perspective. Got to remember perspective still with when you're doing this sort of thing, to a big extent, although it's not, you know, it is vital. I'm going to say it's not vital, but it is. It is really vital, to be fair about it. So let's hope we can get that right. There we go. Then as we head down, that blends more or less with that dark colour there. Then we have another peak of a parasol there, and that comes down to there, another little peak there. Just trying to pick up the peaks of these parasols. Is there one more? Well, let's just make sure there is one more. We'll give it one more, I think. There we go. And down here we have a window, and that then shows up the corner of that. Now I know it looks dark, but I'm hoping upon hope that it dries up a bit lighter, because that's the theory I'm always preaching. But of course, unless you test it out and you prove it, then another window there like that, then you can't really preach it unless you've tried it. But there you go. Then there is a door there, which is very interesting, because I forgot to draw that in, but there you go. And because although they're white, they are showing up darker purely because they are in strong shadow. Right, where's another window then? Is there another window? Oh right, okay. What I'm going to do, leave a bit of light there. There's another window there, and just now paint around the figures. Always the thing that brings these figures to light, or into light, is the fact that you leave areas unpainted. So you've got the lovely dark shadow against the light images, and if you can just get those to flick in, just leaving the parasol stems as well. Another window there. It's very suggestive, and that's what I'm really looking for. There we go. Final parasol stem there. Don't think there's anything on the end here. No, there isn't. So that's the end of that. So that building finishes there. Right, we can just see little touches in the background there. Little touch there, that's lovely. See, I'm holding the figures light at this stage. That's going to be vitally important. That's nothing, so I'm cutting that out. Right, now I'm painting this area, and I'm adding a bit more yellow to it this time, and a bit more red, a bit more blue, just to give it a bit of warmth to that shadow. A bit more blue, because this shadow is not as strong. It could be, but I'm not making it as strong for some unknown reason. A reason that I only know myself. May find that that's not the result what we're looking for, but anyway, let's just bang that in there. And that's in shadow. Of course, that finishes there, so that's now in. That's the main reason I've got a differential between that shadow and this one. There's a window there. There you go. And of course that then comes down, head of a small figure, probably a child, and the size of that figure. Got to be a child, I suppose. In actual fact, I'm covering that over because it didn't look too great. Right, then we come through here. There's a board there. Oh, there's another board of some sort there. Pull that down. There you go. Darkened it off in the end. So, hey ho, such is life as an artist. Make adjustments as you go, and just hope for the best. There we go. Right, so that's basically there. A couple of boards, and then of course a step of some sort. Good. So that is that put in, and while I have this colour, do you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to add more blue to that, and I'm going to put a nice sweeping shadow running up there, because you've got to remember this overhangs. There we go. So I'm putting in shadows now, pretty quickly really, I suppose, considering. And another shadow there, like that. Go. And under there, and another sort of shadow there. Good. Then of course that shadow, and I'm just going to ring the changes a little bit. Add a bit of red to that, a bit of burnt sienna, because that shadow extends up the roof like that, just slightly, quite an angle to that. It'll be quite a distance, I think, because I want a bit of depth to that. There we go. Perfect. That's pretty much perfect really. So that's worked out okay. And while I have this, I'm going to put that under there as well, and I'm going to put a little bit of red in that mix under there. Look at that, like that. And see the way I've overlapped that, because that gives me a secondary sort of shadow down that frontage, and that can then continue under there and under that little overhang. So it's under there. I can just see where we are. Oh yes, so it's under there and under the little overhang there. That's it. Then we come over to this side with that same shadow, not too deep, but deep enough under the overhang of the gutter there. Oh, mustn't forget the chimney, that has a shadow there. Oops. So, just caught the that there. Right, that's okay, that's looking good. Now we're going in now with a shadow. How far up? They're quite well up, these windows. So I'm going to put a shadow like that down there, a shadow like that and down there, and is there another one? Oh, that one's a little closer, which seems a bit strange, but never mind, we'll accept that. like that, just to get start, just to make a start on those windows. Another one there. People who live here will probably say I haven't got those windows there, but never mind. I'll put them in. Now finally, well nearly finally anyway, I'm going to put in the some window work. I'm going to use, unusually, I'm going to use the Windsor blue or Prussian blue. Just feel that I'll put in some little bits and pieces while you was away, but nothing much, just the lights there, bit of shadow work, or in the 40 sign I just put that in. But anyway, what I want to do is to show you the windows. So we've got the window surrounds, and we've got one there, and one there, and the door is just cream, so we've just got the two there. That's okay, that's working fine. Good, okay, so simple as that really. Don't want to get too fussy with this, but what I'm going to do, just going to stroke in a little bit of idea of shine on some of those windows. Always nice to have a bit of shine on them, and I'm going to do the same with these, just to thicken them up, because they're not thick enough without. Oh, there's a door there. There you go. Doesn't look like a door, but it will do, hopefully, in the end, all being well. Wind in the right direction. Right, we need to show a little wall here. I want to show that off too, like that. A little bit strong, so just soften that in. There we go. Just get it to disappear, really. Okay. Tell you what, we're not far off those final shadows. I just want to put a cream, and the cream I'm going to use will be, I want it to be quite light cream. I want it to be nice cream. So raw sienna, that's it. Yep, that'll be the cream I'm using. A little weaker than that, mind you, and not everywhere. And there's cream on those letters, but don't suppose we can see that. There we are. So that's okay, that's worked. Yep, let's cream that off, just lose it a touch. And the door, not sure what that is, but let's just run around that just to make that a little different. Yep, that's okay. Good. Okay, so my main shadow colour will be Windsor blue or Prussian blue with a little alizarin crimson. So that's different to what I've had before for anywhere, but I'm hoping that'll work. And well, we'll see. Now, I'm not sure whether I want it on the thingy, but let's just extend this like that. Let's just see what that looks like. I think that'll be fine. A bit more blue in there. Not too much red at this stage. There we go. And then all of a sudden it'll get cast onto some, but not all, of these benches. There we go. A little bit underneath, and a bit underneath there. Let's just run that across first and leave some gaps. There you go. And of course that then runs across here, doesn't it? And heads off down there. This is what I like about shadows. You know, they reveal everything, don't they? You know, they put things into sunlight, and they put things, you know, they lighten up areas and dull areas down. Like that. I think that's pretty much where it would come. like that. And do you know I'm going to go a bit further with this? Don't want to go too far for obvious reasons. It just sort of sits like that really. A little bit of perspective. Perhaps a chimney just showing. A couple of chimneys just showing. That's not a bad thing to do when you're doing buildings like that. Yep. Now, same colour. We're going to do the phone box, the figures, and of course under the car. They all of a sudden come into light, and I'm going to do down the right hand side of the phone box like that, so that brings that, but I'm leaving the rest to have light. It's just pure white paper. A little bit further with that. Now this, I'm sure, would cast a shadow up the wall. I've already done the figure shadow, so that's worked out okay. I think that we can be pretty happy with that. And now, where else do we have this lovely sort of blue-grey shadow? Well, oh yes, on the underside of the parasols, not everywhere, but here and there. Okay, let's not overdo that. Tell myself to step back a touch for obvious reasons. That will be in complete shadow. That would have some shadow over it. The figures would have some shadow. Leave enough white to give interest, but you don't want too much. There we go. Just add that through and allow that to dry. Yep. Pull that just down there, just a little more. Bring that into there. That's good. Then there's a foreground shadow here. Now I don't know where it comes from. Oh, there is another building here. Oh, well, that's interesting. Right, so this is where it comes from. A bit more red going in this one. And I'm going to pull that right the way across, because there's a shadow that sweeps like that from a building out of picture. And I think that gives a lovely perspective feel to that corner. That's pretty much all I need to do with that, I think. And while I have this shadow, we're going to put an edge down there, bring that into shadow. Then of course we bring that like that somewhere, I think. Bit of an angle to that. The thickness of that would also have a shadow. Just got to do a bit of writing there. Oh, it'd be nice to have an overhang shadow from that lip there. Not sure what that is, but we're not really worried. And then of course a little bit of shadow there, and I'm just going to pull that through just a little bit more. Just put another layer of shadow there, because that's where the greenery is. It'll all dry up, as he says, fingers crossed. Oh, and of course we have another little shadow here coming down there, and that goes around there, goes away into the distance too. We need to show that, but not too much, hinting at that in the distance. Yeah, I think we can safely say. Oh, and I tell you what, I'm going to get rid of a bit of that, because that at the moment is playing a little heavy. It's not that much sun. Pull that across. Not a great deal of sun there, so let's just use that to gently edge that, and then we gradually lose it like that. There we go. Around that. Good. A little bit of weak shadow on the underside of that. Maybe not, but anyway, it's going in. Yeah, I think that's okay. And a little bit of weak shadow on the underside of that. Wouldn't be quite as prominent. Now I've mixed up a very strong mix of Windsor blue and Indian red. It's in that area there. And all I'm going to do now is to gently tease off one or two little areas. A little bit of interest in that window. Oh, there's the board there. It's got a bit of writing on. Another little board there. This is also going to take a bit of shadow. And there is a window there with a sill area that comes down like that. May have a bit of panelling there, not sure. Making it up as I go along, which is sometimes not a bad thing to do. Handle on the door. While I have this, I'm going to just line that, because that is some form of something going on, some form of something going on. This is what I like. Not sure what they are. Not really worried, to be fair. Let's start this side. And all right, little touches like that. We do have a little bit of edging along the top there for the right. Yep, no, that's okay. Yeah, that's all right. I'm talking to myself, which you have to do sometimes, because it's not always you're getting it right. And if you're not getting it right, you've got to tell yourself that you're not getting it right. And pan tile roofing, it's a little bit uneven. Trying to create that sort of, what's going on here? Oh right, that's got to be completely blocked then. Okay, let's finish that like that. Finish it around there. There you go. That's better. Just took away from that. Pick up a bit of moisture. Don't want too much water, so I picked up a little bit of moisture from another part, and then all of a sudden you're getting a rippling effect, if I can get that effect from that area there. We don't want that. That's one sort of rippling I don't need. Let's try and do it with the point of the brush. There we go. Is that anywhere near looking a bit jagged? Yeah, I think it is. Or is that too much detail? One never knows. And then all of a sudden, a bit of lining down here, which needs to be a bit more determined, I think. There we go. And a bit across there. A little bit here, a little bit of rough lining. There we go. There you go. Yeah, we'll accept that. Unfortunately, once it's there with watercolour, I suppose in many ways we've got to accept it. But there are things you can do, of course, but don't want to, because I want this to be fresh and clean, so I don't want to be fiddling around with any sort of unnecessary detail. That just wants lifting. There you go, with the finger. Little touches there like that. Then we have the gutter there, and that lays up there like that, and with a downpipe like that. Put a little bit of a break in it, read a downpipe down there, and what I'm going to do shortly is create a little bit darker stuff here, just to try and give an impression. Oh yes, and actual fact, I might put a bit of light on that shortly. Right, underneath there, figure's legs perhaps. Don't know what they are really. Anyway, I think that gives a general idea, doesn't it? I think it just gives that a general feel of figures sort of having a afternoon cup of coffee or whatever in the old forge tea rooms. I'll tell you what, I'm going to put some impressions of windows in here. Not sure whether that's a good thing to do, but I'm going in. Well, there you go. Going across with the under sections now. I wasn't sure whether that was a good idea, so I'm going across with some under sections just to try and improve it. Yeah, well, we'll accept that. That's a door handle. Impressionist. That's all we're doing. We don't need to show everything, and that's what I'm trying to achieve here. A little bit of separation there, like that. Yeah, that's good. Now there is a little bit of lining on the path because I want to show a bit of perspective within this road area. See the way I've pulled that down, created, well, an impression of slabs really, but there isn't any. But that helps to break up a rather spare area that isn't doing anything. I want this to be dark too, down there, because that was not showing up as I wanted it. Well, it is now. And a bit on the edge there to darken that. And we've got Hutton-le-Hole. It's brown, but let's just add a bit of brown to that and a bit of burnt sienna to that. There we go. Sorry, to make it like a brown colour. And we're talking Hutton-le-Hole. Hole. Craft. Stylised writing this, so I'm trying to emulate it, but I'm not doing very well. But workshop. There's a nice interesting workshop area there. Did take a wander down there and have a quick look. It's quite interesting actually. If ever you visit this area of the North York Moors, well worth a visit. Hutton-le-Hole and everything else that goes with it. And clean the brush now, and finally a little bit of Windsor blue on the end of that rigger, because I want to show the back and the underside of that. There we go. So that shows the inside basically of that area there. Yeah, I think that's all that's required. A little bit of shadow there, head, bit of arm shadow there and there, underneath, one or two little touches there. You can soon overdo this, and that is what I'm in danger of doing, particularly if I'm going to put down a bit more of an area there. Yeah, that's okay. Just get rid of that like that. A little bit in that window. Oh yes, just kill this off, bit of brown, just laying a bit of light, that is. Then I'm going to just darken that off. Can't really see the definition there, but there is a bit of a wall there like that, and then a little bit of a wall there, but that's going out of picture. Right, let's sit back and see what we have there. What I want to do with a damp brush now is just to show up some indication of this idea that we've got some form of, bring that like that, pentile roofing. That's what I want, just to take away from the real sort of, yeah, a bit more colour there. Sometimes you get a little bit of deviation in the colouring, a little bit of warm tone there. It's always useful to stroke in something else there. And of course this also applies to the side wall here. Don't want too much, that is too much. So there's a bit of cross hatching, just to give a feeling of tonal change there. Don't want to do too much to that, I don't think. Let's just get the rigor on that, just to show a bit of guttering. Always a good thing to do, just to sharpen that up. And overall, do you know, I'm going to take the surround away, and I've just spotted something else, as you do. Shadow underneath the gutter and down the right hand side of the downpipe. There we go. But other than that, let me just take the surround away, because I think we're finished. Well, all that remains really, I've taken the surround away, as you can see. All that really remains is for me to sign it, and just going to sign it in my normal sort of way. Going to use red. I've been signing in sort of, well, it's not red, but it's dark, sort of warm tone. And I'm going to sign it bottom right hand corner, because it's an area that hasn't got a lot in it. So I think my signature would sit there quite nicely in the paint that I've used. And I always say, sign all of your work. So there we have it. The old Forge tea rooms, Hutton-le-Hole. It's actually my take on it. Not absolutely correct in some details, but at least it's my take on it, really. And I hope you've enjoyed watching. If you have, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. And happy painting. We'll see you all again very, very soon.